right, welcome everybody to a new edition of Ace Nagler's Checkered Flag. Guess what? Our first one in the great state of Texas. How about that? Man, we've got some great guests along with us today. Introduce yourselves, and then I'll tell. It was a very unique story real quick before we do this. I want to share with all of you viewers out there. And all three of these, senators are on all three of these, and it was for Cody Pound. But first, let's introduce yourselves, and we're going to start with this kid right here.
My name is Austin Piper. I race a 65 car in Junior 3 Outlaw.
Sweet. We'll do the driver introduction. How about you?
My name is Mitchell Mobley. I race the 57 car in Junior 3 Outlaw, and I'm about to move up to 250.
Yeah. And?
Hi, I'm Cody Pound. I race a 21C and 250 Outlaw.
I want to speak up a little bit there, Cody, but we got you for that one. All right, so we're here because we have a very, very unique story. I hope we can fit all this in an hour. I know in a little while we're going to have Jacob Skeen's going to be on the show. We're going to talk to Jacob and his dad about the big 125 event they're going to be having, so we're going to talk about that in a little while. First, I wanted to thank our sponsors. We have TNT Fabrication. They make sheds, and they make all kinds of steel sheds. They're out of Wichita Falls, so big thanks to them. Also, a big thanks to Texoma Speedway, Texoma Sprint Kart Racing. You can see them on the internet, so big thanks to them for our sponsors. Now, with that said, I'm your host, Ace Nagler, and I want to get started with the story, sharing the story here. Actually, before that's where you can find us. We're going to be on the Vimeo network under Ace Nagler's Checkered Flag every Tuesday night from starting the 14th. So tomorrow night would be 7 p.m., 9 Central Texas time. So I wanted to talk to you kids about what you got going on first. We got to introduce yourself, and I wanted to share the story, guys, because this is a very.
Do you want me to start?
This is a very heartwarming, unique story, and I wanted to start with Cody Pound, the man of the hour, because the story's centered around him. So, Cody, tell us what happened. About a month ago, was it a month ago? About a month ago, I believe you had quite a wreck. Well, you were out there at racing hard like you usually do at CAM. Tell us what happened.
It was me and Montgomery racing for first, and he was on the inside, and I was on the outside. We were side by side for a good 5-6 laps, and I got behind him too much close to the wall, and I guess his tire clipped me, and I went behind him. Yeah,
and so then you ended up flipping, or you had quite an accident. You ended up flipping, and then this is where the story picks up from here. Now you weren't sure that you were going to be able to race, or you
No.
You didn't know if you were going to be able to race for the rest of the year. And let's start with you, and then Austin here. You boys stepped up to the plate.
Okay, I guess I'll start. Okay, so after Cody wrecked David Knox, he really wanted to get Cody a new chassis, and people started finding out about that, and they all started chipping in money to get him a new one. And when they finally did, Robert Say went in and helped just get it all together for this guy.
Yeah, and you did, and then.
And then you can see how many people donated right here.
Yeah, well, actually, we'll put those names out later because they're very. Now, I'll talk about this later. They're very important to get out there. I mean, and folks, I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I've been doing this for 5 years now. Interviewing and having racers on the show. All of you who are which, by the way. I had on Skype when I lived out in California, so it's really good to have you guys all here live and in person. That's pretty cool. Well, we'll talk about that later. And fans, I've had a lot of stories that I've shared. I've been able to share, and stories like this are, to me, really stand out because the thing that I've always said, and it holds true, is when you guys are on the track, you're sometimes you're racing each other, you're even rivals, but when it comes down to it, you guys are actually friends. And when things like this happen, it really shows what a tightly knit community that you guys all are. And you guys really, had pulled together. So, Austin Piper, you did something very cool, too. Tell us what you did.
Well, the night when I was there, I saw that Cody wrecked his car and stuff, and I saw that his chassis was broke. So, and then I told my mom I wanted donated money because I didn't want to see him at home on a Saturday and watching us race and not let him race. So we passed the hat around and I donated him some money. And so after that, he was back on the track and ready to go.
And you donated him $100 too, didn't you? Yeah, that was pretty awesome. And so then here came this on all this, folks, transpired over about a week, right? Yeah, it was that all it was about it transpired over just a week. Cody had no idea he was going to even race again, or next week, or let alone race again. And then all of a sudden,
his face when he saw that was just priceless.
And so they presented you the trophy at that race, and I was there. I got to announce that race. I'm so humbled and honored that I got to be a part of that and see that. What was going through your mind when they gave you that chassis? I mean,
I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought it would be a few months before I could race. I'm grateful for it. I honestly didn't. I thought it'd be a long time before I get to race again.
Yeah, and like I said, these stories like these are awesome. You know, again, you have friends that are rivals, but they step up, and when something like this happens, the racing communities are very much a family. We're tightly knit, and they step up and help. So let's talk about some of the names that helped out. And I know he wanted to be anonymous, and that's just the kind of guy he is. But I'm sorry, I have to say it. David Knox really put this together.
I already mentioned him too.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you did. That's right. But again, I wanted David Knox, and then the Montgomerys. Then you already said Says, yeah. The Mobleys, which your family. Ed, the Lowrys, is it? What is that? Is that Lowry?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lowrys. Emily Lowry. That's right. The $5 card. Yeah, Emily Lowry. The Ramirez family, Dixon family and crew, McIntyre, and then there was a couple of names. Was this Bull Mac powder coating?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what that is? And then what's this one here? Do you know what that one is? I can't.
Donating
Powder coat, some other powder coat company. Hopefully we get there.
No, that's Bull Mac.
Yeah, that's the old. That's okay. So yeah, those are the ones. And then Cam Motorsports, of course. Panther, Jay Hudson. Big thanks to Jay Hudson.
Yeah.
Panther chassis. We got to go by a shop, and so he put that together too. So big thanks to Panther chassis and Jay Hudson and everybody that put this together was just really awesome. So we had some other things here.
This is like shoutouts.
Oh, this is shoutouts. Okay. Well, I actually wanted to get to know you guys too, because you've been on the show, but we may have new viewers. That haven't watched, and we have the time. And I'm going to start with you, Cody. How did you get involved in this wonderful sport?
It's a long story, but it all began when I was at my friend's birthday, and all the kids' dads were playing football and stuff, and I didn't really have a dad. And when we left there, my mom asked me what I wanted to do, and I said race, and she said okay. So a few months later, I got called into the room, and they got me a car, and I got really excited. And from there on, it went really awesome.
I'm always excited.
I know I'm excited.
Yeah, it's exciting. I never got to sit in one of those, but I got to sit in a flat cart, and those are pretty exciting. I understand why it's exciting and exhilarating. But there's something else you did too. You came back and actually won.
I won every race that night.
You came back and won. Yeah, he did an actual. And folks, for the friends that you're watching that don't know what a clean sweep is, they have 3 sets of races. They've got a heat race, second heat, which determines where they place in the main event, right? And then the main event. He won all 3. So he did a clean sweep that night. So that was pretty cool. So tell us about you and how you got into racing, and then I'll ask how you guys all met each other.
About 4 years ago, my dad had a coworker who raced karts, and he asked me if I wanted to do it, and I said yes. And he took me down to one of the tracks that it was side-by-side 2 cars racing, and I said, I don't think I'd like that. Then he took me to Cam Cartway, and I said, I think I'd like to do that. And I got one of the older cars with the motor in the back, and I started racing, and then eventually we got a better car. And we originally intended to spray paint the car, but my car it was completely wet, and I said, you know what, I like this white car, and we kept it, and had it ever since.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then how did you get started? Guys, get your hands up here. There you go.
I started racing when my dad said, what kind of sport and stuff do you want to play? I said, I don't want to play a sport right now. I want to do racing. He goes, what do you mean racing? So one time we passed a track, and I said, I want to do that dirt racing stuff. So we went down there, and we went to go look at the track, and my dad talked with Mike about getting my car all set up and stuff. And a few months later, we had a car build, and it was mine and my dad, and we practiced it. I had Cam and stuff a lot, and then my first one was in Hot Wheels, and my first race I got third.
Oh wow, how was that for you?
I was
Great,
excited.
great,
I mean,
yeah.
first time racing, and I got third. Wow.
Yeah, and then here you are years later and down the road, and you're getting a lot of wins in there under your belt.
On,
Yeah.
on my first race, I slammed into a pole. That wasn't in the infield.
Oh. Yeah.
Expertise driving.
Glad you're okay. I guess the things you have to learn racing, huh? Sometimes you got to learn the hard way. But you did pretty good this past weekend. You took the feature event, and you've always been just right. You've always been just right up there. I knew eventually you'd get it because you've just been. I mean,
Yeah, me
It's
and
been
you
like-
guys have been neck and neck.
yeah, you guys are like neck and neck in the points too, aren't you? You guys are like so close.
Yeah.
And then you got to feature this. Congratulations on that. Getting to feature this past Saturday, man. Congratulations. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. Definitely helps in the points ranking. And we're going to need all the help to catch up to him.
Yeah. See, that's pretty cool. You guys, but then you guys are like, you're on the track and you're competing, but you guys are actually friends in real life, and I just wanted to share that with everybody. I thought that story was really important to put out there, because these are a lot of things that fans don't see. When the fans come in to watch, they just see you guys are rivaling on the track and what you're doing at the racetrack. They don't get to see these kind of cool things that happen, behind the scenes. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing the story. We're going to take a break, and we're going to show several things. We're going to show some highlight races from past Saturday night where you won, of course. And we're also going to talk with Jacob Skeen because he guys got something cool to tell us about a 125 event coming up. So that'll be coming up in just a moment. All right.